Right now, I want you to pause and answer this honestly in your head. Are you poor? Are you average? Or are you wealthy? Most people who watch this video will get their answer completely wrong. And that's not your fault. We've been trained to measure ourselves using the wrong metric entirely. Here's what happens. Someone tells you they make $120,000 a year. Your brain immediately processes that as, okay, they're doing well. Someone else drives a Range Rover. They live in a nice neighborhood. They eat at good restaurants. Your instinct, that person has money. But here's the thing that nobody talks about at dinner parties. None of that tells you how wealthy someone actually is. A surgeon making $300,000 a year can be broke. Completely broke. Negative net worth. Underwater on everything. Meanwhile, a teacher making $65,000 a year, someone you might assume is struggling, could have built serious wealth. The gap between these two people isn't income. It's something else entirely. It's the gap between earning and keeping, between making money and building wealth. And the uncomfortable truth? Most people are measuring themselves on the wrong scoreboard. You can earn like the top 20% and still be broke like the bottom 40%. That's not just possible. That's incredibly common. So let's get real about what wealth actually is. Wealth isn't what you make. It's what you keep. It's not your salary. It's your net worth. And net worth is honestly simple math, but somehow it feels revolutionary when people learn it. Assets minus debts equals net worth. That's it. Everything you own that has value, your house, your car, your investments, your cash, that's an asset. Everything you owe, your mortgage, your car loan, credit card debt, student loans, that's a liability. The difference is your actual financial position. Here's why this matters. Two people earning the exact same income can have completely different net worth based on what they're keeping and what they're owing. One person might be building equity in a home while paying off their car. Another person might be leasing everything, carrying credit card debt, and renting. Same paycheck. Completely different financial reality. The person who feels poor might actually be wealthier. The person who feels rich might actually be building nothing. This is why so many high earners panic when they think about their finances. Deep down, they know the truth. They're not actually keeping much. Let me introduce you to someone. Her name is Jordan. Jordan is 34 years old. She works in marketing. Good job. She makes about $95,000 a year. After taxes, that's roughly $6,300 a month. On paper, Jordan is doing fine. Better than fine. She's in the top 30% of earners in her area. Her apartment is nice. It's a one-bedroom in a decent neighborhood. Rent is $1,600 a month. She drives a 2021 Honda Civic, still has about $18,000 left on the loan. She takes vacations. She goes out. She has a social life. To her friends, she seems successful. And here's the thing, Jordan feels upper middle class. She feels like she's doing well. But let's do the actual math. Her car loan, $18,000 debt. Her credit card balance, $8,500 debt. Not because of a crisis, just normal life expenses that didn't get paid off. Her savings, $12,000. Her retirement account, $31,000. She's 34, and after nearly 12 years of working, her net worth is approximately $16,500. Let me just say that again. Jordan is making nearly six figures, and her net worth is $16,500. She's 34 years old. By most standards, she should have more than that. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Jordan is not an outlier. She's the norm. The average American in their 30s has a net worth between $10,000 and $30,000. That's not because they don't earn. It's because of what they spend. Jordan's rent is $1,600. Her car payment is $380. Insurance is $180. Gas is $150. Utilities are $120. That's already $2,430 before she eats a single meal. She has about $3,870 left for food, phone, insurance, and everything else. And sure, she could save $1,000 or $1,500 a month if she really tried. But does she? Honestly, probably not consistently. Because here's the thing nobody talks about. Being in that income range around $6,000 a month after taxes feels like you should be able to do everything. Save, spend, invest, live well. But the math doesn't work that way. There's not as much margin as you'd think. Jordan feels stuck. She feels like she's doing well but never gets ahead. And that's because her lifestyle is consuming nearly all of her income. She's what I call invisibly broke. Not actually broke. Not in crisis. But not actually building wealth either. And the scary part? Jordan is probably you. Or someone you know really well. Okay, so let's talk about where people actually fall on the wealth spectrum. I'm going to break this down into 5 levels. And I want you to figure out where you are while we go through this. Bottom 25%, the struggling segment. These are people with a negative or near zero net worth. Could be $0 to $50,000 in debt. Or maybe they have a tiny bit of cash, but also significant debt. This group includes people facing real financial stress. Maybe they had a medical emergency. Maybe they lost income. Maybe they never had stability to begin with. But it also includes a lot of high earners who just haven't built anything yet. What does life look like here? Paycheck dependency, stress around money, limited options if something goes wrong. One emergency feels catastrophic. The emotional reality, anxiety. Lower middle 25%, the building phase. Net worth somewhere between $50,000 and $200,000. This is people who are starting to build. Maybe they have some savings. Maybe they own a car outright. Maybe they have a small amount of equity in a home. Or they're renting but keeping some cash. This group feels less stressed than the first group, but there's still a ceiling on their options. Unexpected costs still hurt. The emotional reality. Cautious optimism mixed with underlying worry. The middle, the median American. Net worth around $200,000 to $500,000. This is where the actual middle class sits. These are people who own a home with some equity. They have retirement savings. They have a car or 2 paid off, maybe one with a loan. They've been accumulating for years, and it's starting to show. They feel comfortable. Not rich, but secure. They can handle emergencies. They can take vacations. They're not stressed about money, but they're not thinking big either. The emotional reality, stability, belonging, but also a weird, quiet fear that it could all go away. Upper middle 10%, the serious builders. Net worth somewhere between $500,000 and $2 million. This is where things get interesting. People here own their homes outright or have minimal mortgages. They have investment accounts, maybe rental properties, real diversification. They're not worried about money at all. They're worried about taxes and strategy. The emotional reality. Freedom mixed with a new kind of pressure. How do I keep this and grow it? Top 10%, the wealthy. Net worth over $2 million, often significantly more. At this level, money isn't a constraint. It's a tool. These people think about money differently. They think about it the way Jordan thinks about buying a coffee. The emotional reality, freedom. But also, and people don't talk about this, a strange isolation. Everything becomes transactional differently when you have this much. Now here's the part where most people have a moment of clarity. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Look at these wealth brackets and be honest. Where are you? Most people who are watching this are probably in that lower middle or middle bracket. And here's the shock. That might feel surprising. Because on paper, you might be doing well. You might be making good money. You might feel successful. But wealth is cumulative. It's about years of choices stacking on top of each other. And here's the thing that separates the people moving up from the people staying still. The people in the top brackets aren't necessarily making more money than you. Some are, but many aren't. What they did was different. They kept more of what they made. A high school teacher who started saving at 25 and never stopped is wealthier than a doctor who started saving at 35. A nurse who bought a house and lived below her means is wealthier than a lawyer who kept upgrading her lifestyle. The secret isn't income. It's time and behavior. The real shock? You probably already know this. You already know that you should be saving more. You already know that upgrading your lifestyle every time you get a raise is keeping you stuck. But knowing and doing are different things. And that's the actual gap between the wealthy and everyone else. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's that they made different choices. Repeatedly. For years. Here's something else that matters but gets overlooked. Your age matters a lot. A 28-year-old with $150,000 net worth is crushing it. They're on track to be wealthy. Compound growth is about to become their best friend. A 55-year-old with $150,000 net worth is in a very different situation. They're behind. Significantly. They don't have enough time to let compound growth work for them. This is why starting early matters. Not because you're being judged, but because math doesn't care about your feelings. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25, with average returns, you're looking at around $1.2 million by age 65. If you start that same investment at age 45, you're looking at around $275,000. Same monthly amount, same returns, completely different outcome. The time factor is brutal. So if you're young, your primary advantage isn't earning more. It's starting now. If you're older, your primary focus isn't catching up to what you should have done. It's maximizing what time you have left. Remember Jordan? The 34-year-old marketing professional with $16,500 net worth? Let me show you 3 different futures for her. Same person, same income, 3 different outcomes. Scenario 1, the next 20 years, no changes. Jordan keeps doing what she's doing. Her income grows a little. Her rent grows. Her car gets replaced. She carries the same balance of debt and savings. By age 54, her net worth is maybe $150,000 to $200,000. She's 54 years old with 11 years until retirement and barely enough saved. She'll likely have to work longer, or retire on less, or both. The emotional reality, regret mixed with panic. Scenario 2, moderate smart choices. At 34, Jordan makes a decision. She's not going to cut everything, but she's going to be intentional. She moves to a place with $1,200 rent instead of $1,600. Saves $400 a month. She pays off that credit card debt in 6 months using extra payments, then stops carrying balances. She increases her retirement contributions by 2%, another $150 a month. Her car loan gets paid off in 3 years. Then she doesn't buy a new car for a while. Total. She's finding about $600 a month to redirect toward building wealth instead of consuming. Over 20 years, that's $144,000. Add in growth on investments, and she's approaching $400,000 to $500,000 net worth by age 54. She can retire. Not luxuriously, but she can retire. She has options. The emotional reality, relief. Pride. Security. Scenario 3. Intentional wealth building. Jordan gets serious. She realizes she doesn't need the $1,600 apartment. She finds a roommate situation and brings her rent to $900. That's a $700 difference. She negotiates a small raise at work. $3,000 more per year. She cuts discretionary spending, not eliminating it but being conscious. Another $300. She redirects her entire car payment once the car is paid off toward investments. Total. She's moving about $1,100 to $1,200 toward wealth building every month. Over 20 years, that's $264,000 plus growth. By 54, she's approaching $800,000 to $1 million net worth. She's in the upper middle wealth bracket. She has real security, real options. She could retire early if she wanted. The emotional reality, empowerment, possibility, freedom, same person, same starting income. 3 completely different endings. The difference between scenario 1 and scenario 3 is about $800,000. That's not luck. That's not a raise. That's choices. So here's what I want you to understand as we wrap this up. Where you are right now is not your identity. It's information. If you're in scenario 1, if you're making good money but not building anything, that's not because you're bad with money. It's because nobody taught you the game. The game is simple. Earn, keep, invest. Repeat. Most people earn. Some people keep. Very few people invest consistently. But you can start right now. You don't need to make $300,000 a year to build wealth. You need to keep more of what you make. You don't need a lucky break. You need to compound small, smart choices over years. Jordan could change her trajectory today. She could start making different choices this week. And so can you. Wealth isn't about hope. It's about math plus behavior. The math says that small, consistent choices become huge outcomes over time. The behavior is what actually makes the math work. You already know what you need to do. The question is, which future are you building? If this made you think, if you're actually calculating your net worth in your head right now, that means you're already ahead of most people. Most people don't even know what their net worth is. They don't think about it. You're thinking about it. That's where change starts. If you found this useful, subscribe. We break down the real numbers behind money and help you see where you actually stand. Thanks for watching.